Can a video game tie-in book actually be any good? My name is Imogen Elvis, and today I'm reviewing The Secret Crusade by Oliver Bowden. Altair embarks on a formidable mission, one that takes him throughout the Holy Land and shows him the true meaning of the Assassin's Creed. To demonstrate his commitment, Altair must defeat 9 deadly enemies, including the Templar leader, Robert de Sable. Well, I got this book as a Christmas gift at the end of last year. My family basically knows my tastes in gifts way too well because I got quite a few books. Now, I actually haven't played all the Assassin's Creed games, including none of the games that involve Altair, this particular assassin, though I have played Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I haven't finished it yet, but you know. So Goodreads tells me this is book 3 in an 8-book series based off the games, plus a prequel book that ties in with Assassin's Creed Origins, because of course. I actually really enjoyed this book. It's really interesting to be able to explore some of the Assassin's Creed world outside of the games. I think it's a world that really translates well onto the page. The adventures are, gripping, thrilling. You get to hang out with the assassins, the skilled people going around stabbing everybody. What could be better? I really loved the fact that they did include a prominent female character. I know that most of the early games, though I haven't played them, I have heard, they don't have a lot of many main female characters, playable. So at least to see one on the page is really interesting, and someone who can be, strong, who can fight, but was also very feminine. So I really, really liked Maria. And the other thing I liked was how nuanced the struggle between the assassins on one side and the Templars on the other was, because most of my impressions I've gained from the little I know of the franchise so far presents it in a very black and white sort of way. The assassins are the good guys and the Templars are the bad guys. And reading through this book, you sort of realise that both sides have got good intentions. The Templars are definitely going about things the wrong way, because of course they are, but they believe that they're doing the right thing and that the world needs their plans. And that to me is just really interesting to see a much more balanced view and a much more grey-toned view of the struggle between them. Another thing I thought was really well done was Altair's character, because part of his big story arc is going from this master assassin who is arrogant and doesn't really believe in the tenets of the Assassin's Creed exactly, but sort of lives by his own code inside of the order, and being dropped to the bottom and having to relearn to be an assassin and how to learn to be humble and, stop thinking selfishly about how great he is and work for the greater good of other people. And a character like that can be really, really annoying at the beginning because they start out so arrogant and so self-centered. And he started out obviously arrogant and self-centered, but not in such a way that I didn't feel like I could connect with him as a character. Obviously he started with the whole mythos of being, an assassin and master assassin, really cool, and absolutely messing it all up. But as a character himself, I felt like there was enough there that I really connected with him, and he was a sympathetic guy and I wanted to see him succeed, which for a story arc like that, a redemption arc starting in a bad place is always fun, and it's even better when it's done really well. Of course, it wasn't all perfect, such as the book was fantastic for the first 3 quarters, and then we got to the last quarter, everything's wrapping up, you get into the climax, and we had 2 massive time cuts, like absolute massive. One of them was at least 10 years, and I think the other was 20. And for a book where the beginning was so linear and there were no real time jumps in it, to suddenly have 2 of them and 2 huge ones, just suddenly felt like, well, there's so much more story here and so much more that's going on, but the author couldn't be bothered to tell us, so he just cut out all those bits and we just jumped straight to the end. And see, I don't know how much this ties into the game because, again, I haven't played the game yet. So I don't know how much of that is restricted by game story and how much of that is just the author's storytelling preference. But to me, the whole ending of it felt so much more rushed and the pacing was so weird because you just all of a sudden had these big jumps and you'd have one big event and then another big jump. And to me it was just like, what? Where have 10, 20 years gone? Another big problem I had was, and this gets slightly spoilery, so if you want to go into this book and haven't read it but want to go in completely fresh, don't listen to this bit. But there's a romantic relationship between Maria and Altair, which is fine. I get that you want to have a romance in there, that's fine. But the whole build up to this romance was just not there. On Altair's side, yeah, maybe you had a bit, but there was exactly nothing from Maria. And there was so much with Maria, like, she was such a good character, I really enjoyed her, but they didn't build out her side of things very well at all. I mean, she was changing allegiances, she was having a romance with Altair, and yeah, there was loads on his side, but I didn't feel like they did anything with her, and it just happened because it was convenient for the story, not because Maria had any involvement with any of this at all. It's like, that's just lazy. But overall, I was super impressed with this book, but I went into it thinking it's probably going to be a bit of fun, a bit of fluff, and, you know, a good read, but nothing special because it's a video game tie-in book and you don't expect a lot from those really, do you? But this one really, really exceeded my expectations. Like, this was a book that would stand alone in its own right. I've never played the game that it's based off, and I still really enjoyed it. So I'm sitting here going, yeah, I want to go out and read the rest of the books in the series and the prequel book and go to play the games, and I want to get really invested in this book series. So do recommend. I would definitely give this book a 4 stars. Not perfect, but really, really good. But that's my thoughts on The Secret Crusade. What did you think of it if you've read it? Would you recommend the rest of the series? And if you haven't read it, are you interested in picking it up in the future? If you want to see more of my book reviews, subscribe to my channel or follow me over on Goodreads. I'll have a link to that in the description. And if you want to keep up with more of my bookish thoughts, more on my writing and everything, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, my website. Again, links in the description. And you'll also find information on the end card about that. And if you'd like to support me, please consider buying my book, pictured here. You can find that on Amazon, and I'll leave a link for that one as well. So I'll see you guys next week.